Let's take a look at replacing the VVT solenoid on this GM Trailblazer with a 4.2 liter engine. Now you can see the old solenoid is mounted inside the side of the cylinder head here on the passenger side of the vehicle. So first thing I'm going to do is disconnect the electrical connector, pinch that out of the way. And now over on the back side of it, if we look at our new one, there's just one bolt holding this thing in place. So I'm going to take my 1/4 inch socket, an extension, and a 10 millimeter swivel, and then remove the bolt. So I'll get this bolt out of the way. And one thing I want to bring to your attention is the original failure. These things can fail in a lot of different ways. Quite often it's due to oil contamination, they stick. This one actually wicked oil all the way up through the old solenoid and came out into the electrical connector. So when we're all done here, I'm going to have to replace this electrical connector as well. It's always something to be aware of if you're replacing one of these. So now that I got my bolt out, I grab this and twist it. Sometimes you might have to use a little bit of a screwdriver or pry bar behind the hold down clamp to get it loose. This one I'm able to get out, but now it's actually hitting the power steering reservoir here. So next thing I'm going to have to do is take my serpentine belt tool, or you could use a 3/8 ratchet here. I'm going to go down on the belt tensioner, and I'm going to release the tension on the belt and slide the belt off the power steering pump. Now, this is going to allow me to rotate the pump, and I'm going to have to access the hold down bolts on the pump, and I'm going to remove the one in the front here, loosen the bottom one. That's going to allow me to pivot the pump over, giving me access to pull the solenoid all the rest of the way out. Now here's a little better view, or as good a view as we're going to get here without removing some additional components. But you can see I've got the belt off the power steering pump, and so I'm going to rotate it so the holes line up with the mounting bolt. Then I'm going to take my ratchet and a 13 millimeter socket and access the hold down bolt through that. So once I get it loosened up, I'll remove this top bolt and then work on loosening the bottom one and see if I can pivot this just enough to get it out of the way. Some cases I've had to actually remove the entire pump. Other cases I get lucky enough and we can actually just swing it out of the way there. We'll see what today brings. All right, so I've gone ahead and had to remove actually 3 different bolts on the front of the power steering pulley in order to get it out of the way here. So just like I lined up the one, I had to rotate about 45 degrees, get another one, and then 180 degrees from the top one, there was the third one on the bottom. And so that allowed me to really loosen up and gain some movement in this power steering pump. I did leave the bottom bolt in just a little bit yet, so I don't have to worry about complete lining everything up. It's going to make my reinstallation a little bit easier. So now it's going to allow me to slide this out of the way and get just enough clearance to pull my old solenoid out. And so, not sure if you can see in there real accurately, but there's actually quite a bit of oil inside this old solenoid. So it's part of the reason we're going to replace it. However, if you look at the rest of it, it looks pretty decent. So I'm going to take a little bit of engine oil, lubricate my new one, and in a similar manner, as I remove the old one, I will now work on installing the new one. So, get it popped into place there, and now I'm going to go about reinstalling my power steering pump, installing the belt. I'm going to install a new connector here because we've already contaminated the wiring and the connections inside this old one. So I'm going to install a new connector, clear any trouble codes, and the job is done. Hopefully now you have a better understanding of what it takes to replace the VVT control solenoid on a GM 4.2 liter engine.